Wayside School is falling down. A package for Mr. Jules. Louis, the yard teacher, frowned. The schoolyard was a mess. There was pencils and pieces of paper everywhere. How did this junk get here? He wondered. Well, I'm not going to pick it up. It wasn't his job to pick up garbage. He was supposed to pass out balls during lunch. At recess, it also make sure the kids didn't kill each other. He sighed and began cleaning it up. He loved the children at Wayside School. He didn't want them playing in a dirty playground. And he was peeking on papers and pieces of paper. A large truck drove into the parking lot. It honked twice, then twice more. Louis ran to the car. Quiet, he whispered. Children are trying to learn in there. He pointed to the school. A short man with a brushy hair stepped out of the truck. I have a package for somebody named Mr. Jules, he said. I'll take it, said Miss Jules. Are you Miss Jules? Said the man. No, said Miss Jules. I have to give it to Miss Jules, said the man. Louis stopped for a moment. He didn't want the man disturbing the children. He knew how much they hated to be interrupted when they was working. I'm Mr. Jules, he said. But you just said you weren't Mr. Jules, said the man. I changed my mind, said Louis. The man took the package out of the back of the trunk and gave it to Louis. Here you go, Mr. Jules. Ugh, Louis grunted. It was a very heavy package. The word Freckle was printed on every side. He had to be careful not to drop it. The package was so big, Louis couldn't see where he was going. Fortunately, he knew the way to Miss Jules' class by heart. It was straight up. Wayside School was 30 stories high, with only one room in each story. Miss Jules' class was at the very top. It was Louis' favorite class. He pushed down the door to the school and started up the stairs. There was no elevator. There were stairs that led down to the basement too, but nobody ever went down there. There were dead rats living in the basement. The box was pressed against Louis' face, squashing his nose. Even so, when he reached the 15th floor, he could smell Miss Mush cooking in the cafeteria. He smelled that he was making mushrooms. Maybe on the way back I'll stop by Miss Mush's room to get some mushrooms, he thought. He didn't want to miss Miss Mush mushrooms. They're his specialty. He huffed and groaned and continued up the stairs. His arms and legs were very sore, but he didn't want to rest. The package might be important, he thought. He had to get it to Miss Jules right away. He stepped easily from the 18th floor to 20th. There's no 19th story. Miss Tharp taught the class in the 19th story. There was no Miss Tharp. At last he struggled at the final step to the 13th story. He knocked at Miss Jules' door with his head. Miss Jules was in the middle of teaching about cabbage when he heard the knock. Come in, he called. I can't open the door, Louis gasped. My hands are full. I have a package for you. Miss Jules faced the class. Who wants to open the door for Louis? Yes. All the children raised their hands. They love to be interrupted when they are working. Oh dear, how shall I choose? And Mr. I have to be fair about this, I know. Well, have a spelling bee, and the winner will get to open the door. Louis knocked the head against the door again. I'm happy, he complained. I'm very tired. just a second, Miss Jules called back. Allison, the first word for you. Heavy, heavy, said Allison. Heavy. Heavy. Very good. Jason, you're next. Tired. Tired? Said Jason. Sleepy. Tired. Louis felt his package slipping in his sweaty fingers. He swift and way to the better grip. The corners of the box thumped the side of his arms. He felt his hands go numb. Actually, he didn't fear them go numb. Jenny, package, said Jenny. B-O-X, package. Excellent, said Miss Jules. Louis felt like he was going to faint. At last, John opened the door. I want the spelling bee, Louis, he said. Very good, John, murmured Louis. Aren't you going to shake my hand? Asked John. Louis lifted the box in one arm, quickly shook John's hand and grabbed the box again and scattered in the room. Where do you want it, Miss Jules? He asked. I don't know, said Miss Jules. What is it? I don't know, said Miss Jules. I have to put it down somewhere if you can open it. How can I tell you where you put it until I know what it is? Asked Miss Jules. You might put it in the wrong place. So Louis held the box to Miss Jules and stood on the chair next and tore it open the door. His legs wobbled beneath him. It's a computer, explained Miss Jules. Everybody booed. What's the matter? Asked Miss Jules. I thought everybody loved computers. We don't want it, Louis, said Eric Bacon. Take it back, Jack. Take it back, Jack, said Terence. Get a piece of junk out of here, said Miss Sia. Now, don't be that way, said Miss Jules. The computer will help us learn. It'll learn quicker than a paper and pencil. But quicker we learn, the more work we have to do, complained Todd. You may sit over on this counter, Louis. And Louis set the computer to the counter next to Sherry's desk. Then he calmed blast in the floor. Now watch closely, said Miss Jules. Everyone gathered around the new computer. It had a full-color monitor and 2-disk drive. Miss Jules pushed down the window and watched it fall smash into the sidewalk. See, said Miss Jules, this is Gabby. Now I get it, said Joe. Thank you, Louis, said Miss Jules. I've been trying to teach them about Gabby all morning. We have been using pencils and pieces of paper. Now the computer is a lot quicker. Chapter 2. Mark Miller. Mr. Jules rang the cowbell. I would like you to meet Mark Miller, he said. He and his family just moved here all the way from Magonia. Everybody stared at the new kid. He stood at the front of the new room. His knees were shaky. He hated having to stand in front of the class. If it was as Miss Jules had bought him for show and tell, he felt like some kid's like weirdo. He just wanted to sing and dance like everybody else. But worst of all, his name wasn't Mark Miller. He was Benjamin Neshek, and he moved from Hamilton, not Magnolia. But he was too scared to mention the Miss Jules. He was afraid to correct the teacher. Why don't you tell the class a little bit about yourself, Mark? Suggested Benjamin. Didn't you know what to say? He wished he really was Mark Miller. Mark Miller wouldn't be scared. He thought he probably have lots to say. Everyone would like him. Nobody would think Mark Miller was weird. Well, I guess we better find a place to sit, said Miss Jules. He put him in the empty desk between Todd and Bebe. Hi, Mark, said Todd. I'm Todd. You lie, Miss Jules. He's the nicest teacher in our school. Todd, no talking, said Miss Jules. Go write your name in the blackboard under the word script line. Hi, I'm Mark, said Bebe. I'm Bebe Gunnin. Hey, hi, Benjamin, said quietly. He decided to have to tell Miss Jules his real name at recess. He grinned. He didn't know why. For some reason, he had trouble saying his own name. And what is your name, little boy? An adult was asking him. Benjamin Nutshut, he would answer. What? Benjamin Nutshut? What? Benjamin Nutshut? What? Benjamin Nushmut? What? Benjamin Mushmut? Oh, nice to meet you, Benjamin. He'll never knew what made a professor leader that. The bell rang for recess. Everybody charged out the room. Benjamin slowly walked to Miss Jules' desk. Somehow he had to tell her. Miss Jules was sorting papers. Oh, hello, Mark, he said. How are you in your class so far? Fine, said Benjamin. Good, I'm glad to hear that, said Miss Jules. Benjamin shrugged, then walked out of the room. If I had told her name, he would have thought I was weird for not telling her sooner, he realized. He stood at the top of the stairs and looked down. Recess was only 10 minutes long and didn't seem worth it to go way down and then come all the way back up. He didn't want any friends down there anyway. He had never been more unhappy in his whole life. He sat at the top of the step. Mark Miller, he said out loud. It was an easy name to say. Mark Miller probably wouldn't have made lots of him. By now, he thought, suddenly heard a low rumble. Then the stairs began to shake. It felt like an earthquake. The whole stupid class, what school was going to fall over. He thought. He put his head between his knees. The rumbling got worse. I'm going to die if nobody will even know who I am, he worried. A new kid, Mark Miller, the weirdo. But it wasn't a nurse kid. It was just all the kids running back up the stairs. Hey, Mark, why are you sitting in that way? Said Dee Dee. You look funny, said Ron. Benjamin looked up. How come you weren't at recess? Asked Jason. We look everywhere for you. Could you find the playground? Asked Kelvin. It's just straight down, said Pepe. You missed it. But don't go to the basement, warned Shari. Whenever you go, don't go to the basement. We'll go down together at lunch, said Todd. That's the way you won't get rust. Benjamin smiled. Glad everyone seemed to like him. Or at least they liked Mark Miller. He wondered if they liked Benjamin Nutshut too. The bell had rung, and Mr. Jones standing in the doorway. Now everyone get inside. He made Todd put up to check his name in the board for being late. Mr. Jules handed a stack of worksheets to Diamond, and he asked him to pass them down the rest of the class. Benjamin looked at his worksheet. At the top right corner, there's a place to put his name. He didn't know which name to put there, Mark Miller or Benjamin Nutshut. He left the blank and started working the first problem. Louis, the yard teacher, entered the corner in the white paper set. Benjamin forgot his lunch, he said. His mother just brought it. Who said Miss Jules? Benjamin said Louis. There's no Benjamin in my class, said Miss Jules. Are you sure? Asked Louis. It looks like a good lunch. I don't need all the children in my class. Miss Jules said imaginately. Well, I'll just leave it until I figure this out, said Louis. He left lunch in Miss Jules' desk and walked out of the room. Benjamin frowned. He looked at the white paper stack in Miss Jules' desk. He couldn't tell Miss Jules' real name now. He'd think he was making up just to get free lunch. He wrote Mark Miller in the top of the worksheet, but one of these days he knew he had to tell her his real name. Chapter 3. Baby's baby brother. Miss Jules asked Simon to pass out the homework. Baby Gunnan waited nervously. Except for art, his grade had not been good lately. If he didn't start bringing home better grades, her parents say that wouldn't let her stay past midnight. He did her best art work after midnight. Diamond handed Calvin his homework, then Todd, then Joy. Where is yours? Said Kevin. I don't know, said Pepe. Did you do it? Said Calvin. Yes, I did, said Pepe. I worked extra hard on it. I hope Miss Jules didn't lose it. Diamond finished passing the homework. Bebe never got hers. Bebe, will you come here, please? Said Miss Jules. He pushed out a seat and stood up and nervously walked to Miss Jules' desk. I did my homework, Miss Jules said. Really? Yes, I know, said Miss Jules. He held Bebe's homework in his hand. Whew, Bebe sighed with relief. I was afraid you lost it. No, you didn't. I didn't lose it. Miss Jules said furiously. He showed the back of the paper to Bebe. Someone had written, Miss Jules is fat of it, hippololish, and he smells like one too. I didn't write that, said Bebe. I love the way you smell, Miss Jules. But if you didn't write it, who did? Ray, Bebe replied. Who's Ray? He's my little brother, Ray Gunton. He must have stuck to my room after I was asleep. He's always playing mean tricks on me. He knew how hard I work in the homework. Well, I'll show Ray, said Miss Jules. He gave Bebe an A+. There, I don't think he tried that again. Thanks, said Bebe. You may have a toothy roll pop too, said Miss Jules. Bebe took a toothy rolled pop out of the coffee can and Miss Jules on desk. A return receipt and proudly showed Kelvin her A+. The next day, Miss Jules asked Diamond to hand back another batch of homework. How come Diamond gets to do everything? Gripped Caddy. I'm sorry, Caddy, said Miss Jules. Would you like to pass the homework? No, grumped Caddy. I'm not your slave. Diamond passed the homework. Again, Bebe didn't get hers. Miss Jules called her in this. Back of the homework, someone read. Miss Jules had his head full of oatmeal, and it leaks like out her ears. I didn't write it, said Bebe. Right? Jules. Bebe nodded. Why don't you start checking the back of your homework? Suggested Miss Jules. I did when I woke up, said Bebe. You must have done it after breakfast when I brushed my teeth. We had oatmeal for breakfast. He shook her head. I don't brush my teeth anymore. You have to brush your teeth, said Miss Jules. Your parents think he's such a little angel. Bebe complained. He's always wrecking things, and then I always gets in trouble. Why can you be more like Ray? They say. Yesterday, I threw my underwear out of the window, and my mom yelled at me for it. You wouldn't believe that her little darling son would do something like that. Miss Jules gave Baby another A+ and another toothy roll pop. For Friday, everyone got a report and read it to the class. Baby wrote the report about George Washington. He stood at the front of the room and read it aloud. George Washington never told a lie, not like Miss Jules. He lies at a time. That's why his nose are so big, and he snores when he sleeps. So Miss Jules wear earplugs. Everyone was laughing. Bear started reading. What's so funny? Yes. Come here, said Miss Jules. Bebe stroked and walked to Miss Jules' desk. Miss Jules showed what he had read. Did I just read that out loud? Bebe asked. Miss Jules nodded. I was just reading it, Bebe explained. I wasn't listening. It was Ray again, wasn't it? Asked Had to be, said Bebe. Yesterday he put my toothpaste in my socks. Then my mother got mad at making mess and wasting toothpaste. Bebe got an A+ in the report and another toothy roll ball. After school, Miss Jules called Bebe mother in the phone. Hello, Miss Gunning, said Miss Jules from Wayside School. What's Bebe done now? Asked Miss Gunning. Bebe hasn't done anything wrong, said Miss Jules. He's a wonderful girl. Well, that's a surprise, said Mr. Gunning. He always causes trouble at home. I want to talk to you about that. And Miss Jules, I think you're being unfair to Bebe. I think he often gets trouble when really Ray is to blame. Ray? Asked Gunning. Yes, I know you think he's a perfect angel, said Miss Jules. But some children can be angels outside the devils underneath. Yes, that sounds like Bebe, said Miss Gunning. I'm not talking about Bebe. I'm talking about Ray. Ray? Said Bebe's mother. Who's Ray? This is finished to chapters 1 to 3.